My name was Kenji. I grew up in California. The sun always seemed to shine there. We had a small farm. We grew strawberries, sweet red strawberries. My father worked hard. My mother worked harder. They believed in America. They taught me to believe too. I pledged allegiance to the flag every morning. I felt American. I was American. Then, a day of infamy arrived. December 7th, 1941. Everything changed in an instant. The news crackled over the radio. Pearl Harbor was attacked. Fear spread like wildfire. Whispers turned to shouts. Suspicion fell upon us. Our faces became our crime. It did not matter that we were citizens. It did not matter that we loved this country. Suddenly, we were the enemy. My father's eyes held a deep sadness. He had built a life here from nothing. He had poured his sweat into American soil. My mother tried to stay strong for us, but I saw the worry lines deepen on her face. Our neighbors, once friendly, now looked away. Some looked with anger, some looked with fear. The world we knew was crumbling. The American dream was becoming a nightmare. We were adrift, uncertain of our future. The radio blared with propaganda. Newspapers printed hateful words. Japs, they called us. It was a word that stung. It was a word that sought to strip us of our humanity. I was just a boy, really. I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to go to school dances. I wanted the simple things an American boy wanted, but those simple things were stolen. Stolen by fear. Stolen by prejudice. The government began to make lists. Our names were on those lists. We waited, holding our breath. What would happen to us? Where would we go? The uncertainty was a heavy cloak. The orders finally came. Curfews were imposed. Travel restrictions followed. We were prisoners in our own neighborhoods. My father tried to explain. He said it was a mistake. He said America would realize its error. But his voice lacked its usual conviction. I saw him burn letters from Japan. He burned photographs of our relatives there. He wanted to erase any connection. He wanted to prove our loyalty. But how do you prove loyalty when no one is willing to believe? It was a desperate act, a heartbreaking act. The ground beneath our feet felt like quicksand. We were sinking. Posters appeared on telephone poles, stark black ink on white paper, instructions to all persons of Japanese ancestry. We had to leave our homes. We could only take what we could carry. Imagine that. Your entire life reduced to a few suitcases. My mother cried as she packed. She chose practical things, warm clothes, a few cherished photographs. My father was silent. His silence was heavier than any words. He sold our farm for almost nothing. Years of hard work, gone. He sold our car, our furniture, everything. We were being erased from our own lives. They herded us onto buses. Armed soldiers watched us. Their faces were grim. We did not know our destination. We only knew we were leaving freedom behind. The bus windows showed us a passing world, a world that was no longer ours. We arrived at an assembly center. It was a racetrack. They put us in horse stalls. The smell of manure still lingered. It was a humiliation, a deep, cutting shame. From a home with dignity to a stall fit for animals. This was America, the land of the free. How could this be happening? The question echoed in my young mind, unanswered. Then came the camps. Rover, Manzanar, Tule Lake, names that became synonymous with injustice. Barbed wire fences surrounded us. Guard towers loomed. Armed men watched our every move. We lived in flimsy barracks. Dust storms swept through constantly. The winters were bitter cold. The summers were scorching hot. We stood in long lines for food that was often bland, sometimes spoiled. We lost our privacy, we lost our dignity, but some things they could not take. Our spirit, our community. We started schools, we planted gardens. We tried to make life bearable. The days blurred into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. The confinement gnawed at us. The injustice burned. My father grew older, more stooped. His dreams had turned to dust. My mother organized lessons for the children. She fought to keep hope alive. I saw resilience everywhere. I saw courage in the face of despair. But I also saw the invisible scars forming. The questions of identity grew louder. Were we American, or were we the enemy they saw? The barbed wire was not just physical. It was in our hearts. It was in our minds. A constant, painful reminder. Then a strange opportunity arose. The government wanted soldiers. They wanted us. The very people they had locked away. They asked us to fight for the country that had imprisoned our families. It was a cruel irony. A bitter pill to swallow. Many in the camps were angry. Why should we fight for them? Why should we risk our lives for a nation that treated us like criminals? The debates were fierce. Families were divided. Friends argued. The question of loyalty was now a choice. A dangerous, complicated choice. It tore at the fabric of our imprisoned community. I was young, I was angry, but I was also an American. Deep down, I still believed. Perhaps this was the way. Perhaps through sacrifice we could prove our loyalty, prove that we belonged. My father was against it. They put us here, he said, his voice raspy. Let them fight their own war. My mother was torn. She feared for my safety, but she also saw the flicker of hope in my eyes. I wanted to reclaim something. My honor, my identity. I wanted to show them who we truly were. Not the caricatures on their posters, but men, Americans, willing to die for our country. The decision was agonizing. I lay awake many nights, staring at the wooden planks of the barrack ceiling, listening to the wind howl outside. Was this courage or foolishness? Was I betraying my family's suffering? Or was I fighting for their future? I talked with other young men. Some were bitter, some were eager, some like me were caught in between. We were the Nisei, second generation, caught between two worlds, belittled by one, and now asked to die for it. The weight of this choice was immense. It felt like the world rested on our young shoulders. Finally, I enlisted. I joined the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Go for broke. That was our motto. It meant giving everything, risking everything. My mother cried when I left. My father shook my hand. His eyes held a mixture of fear and something else. Pride? Perhaps. I put on the uniform of the United States Army, the same army that guarded our camps. The irony was not lost on me. I was a soldier for a country that held my family captive. My heart was a battlefield of conflicting emotions, fear, duty, anger, hope. I marched off to war. We fought in Europe, Italy, France, Germany. The battles were brutal, mud, blood, death. We faced the enemy. We also faced prejudice from some of our own. They called us Japs even in uniform. They doubted our courage. They questioned our allegiance. We had to prove ourselves twice over. First as soldiers, second as loyal Americans. Every firefight, every advance was a testament. We fought with a ferocity born of desperation. We had to be better. We had to be braver. For ourselves. For our families back in the camps. For the very soul of our identity. I remember the Lost Battalion, Texas soldiers, surrounded by Germans. We were sent to rescue them. The fighting was relentless. Days of continuous combat. We lost so many men. Good men, friends, brothers in arms. Each loss was a fresh wound. We pushed on, driven by our motto, go for broke. We broke through. We reached them. The cost was staggering, but we did it. We proved our worth. We showed them what loyalty truly meant. Yet even in victory, the bitterness lingered. Why did we have to sacrifice so much to be seen as equals? The war ended. We came home. But home was different. Our families were still scarred by the camps. Many had lost everything. Their homes, their businesses, their savings. The prejudice had not disappeared. We were heroes in uniform. But out of uniform, some still saw us as the enemy. The fight was not over. It had merely changed its form. The American dream for us was tarnished. It was a dream we had to rebuild from ashes. A dream we had to redefine for ourselves. It was a painful, arduous process. A journey of healing and reclaiming. Looking back, the experience was a crucible. It forged us. It tested us. It revealed the worst of America, and in a strange way, the best. The resilience of a people, the courage to fight for ideals, even when those ideals were denied to us. The American dream is a complex promise. It is not always fair. It is not always just. But it is a promise worth fighting for. Our story is a reminder. A reminder that loyalty cannot be judged by face or ancestry. It is judged by action, by sacrifice, by the unwavering belief in the possibility of a more perfect union. Our fight continues.